Hey guys, what's going on? Coach Dan Huff from BaseballTrainingBlueprint.com with you. Today we're going to talk about weighted baseballs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I get asked about training with weighted baseballs for pitchers at least on a weekly basis. So I figured I'd put this together for you and see if I can answer all your questions in one shot here. So here we go. Why baseballs? This is one of my favorite all-time quotes from Dave Dravecky. All you have to do is pick up a baseball. It begs to you, throw me. If you took a year to design an object to hurl, you'd end up with that little spheroid small enough to nestle in your fingers, but big enough to have some heft, lighter than a rock, but heavier than a hunk of wood. Its even, neat stitching laced into the leather's slippery white surface gives your fingers a purchase. A baseball was made to throw. It's almost irresistible. It's an awesome quote because when you pick up a baseball, when my 4-year-old picks up a baseball, he wants to throw it. It's what the ball is designed to do. And as pitchers, we love to throw it, and we hope that the hitters don't hit it. So now, why weighted baseballs? And it's really a valid question, but my question is, who decided that a baseball should weigh 5 ounces anyway? Why not 6 ounces? Why not 4 ounces? 5 ounces just seems to be right because that's what we've always used. It's what we're used to. But if you look at other sports like football, footballs are 3 times as heavy. Footballs are between 14 and 16, 17 ounces. The more they're played with, the more they're used. They actually gain a little bit of weight. Oils on fingers, stuff along those lines creates the ball to be a little bit heavier as it's used. And football players quarterbacks throw just about every day. Pitchers don't. Quarterbacks don't really pay as much attention to their mechanics as pitchers do. Quarterbacks pay more attention to their footwork, more attention to the different plays that are going on than they do to their actual throwing mechanics. They just know that they can throw the ball well, and they aim at different targets. Pitchers are always throwing the ball 60 feet 6 inches. Quarterbacks, maybe they're throwing a long bomb downfield. Maybe it's a short pass. Different intensities on the throw. Sometimes when you're throwing downfield, you're lofting the ball up. When it's a short 5-7 yard pass, you're really throwing that thing on a line. Baseball players, pitchers are always throwing on a line, always throwing a high stress movement. So why is a baseball 5 ounces? And baseball players tend to complain more about arm stress than quarterbacks who throw a heavier ball farther distances with different throwing mechanics involved in each throw. Just a couple things to think about. I don't have the answers to them, but something I want you to think about while we're talking today. So who should use weighted baseballs? Little leaguers? Heck no. If you're a little league coach, a little league parent, you can go ahead and save this video for a later date. Your little leaguer should not be throwing a weighted baseball. For a little leaguer, I think a 5-ounce baseball is already a weighted baseball. I think it's already too heavy for them. So if you're a little league parent, coach, stop watching right now, please. High schoolers, maybe. I say maybe because if you're early on in high school, no, you shouldn't be using a weighted baseball. If you're a junior or senior, there's a possibility that they might benefit you. If you're a college pitcher, there's a good chance that weighted baseballs are going to have a positive impact on your career. And if you're in the pros, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, yeah, you should be using weighted baseballs. Now, to clarify who should and who shouldn't use weighted baseballs, let's look at your mechanics. Are your mechanics sound? Do you have quality pitching mechanics? If your mechanics are flawed, training with a weighted baseball is just going to magnify the flaws. All right, it's just going to make things worse. So if your mechanics are not sound, they're not solid, do not touch a weighted baseball. Fix your mechanics, and then we can worry about implementing advanced training strategies like weighted baseballs. Now, how's your arm? When you throw, does your arm hurt or is your arm sore? The difference between pain and soreness: pain, something's wrong. Soreness is something that we as pitchers have become accustomed to. If your arm is sore after a bullpen session, there's probably something wrong. If your arm is sore after a long toss session, there's probably something wrong. If your arm is sore after throwing a 100 pitch outing, 120 pitch outing, that's probably typical. Okay, so think about arm soreness in terms of what are you sore from. If you're sore from preparing, you're probably doing something a little bit wrong. If you're sore from performing, that's okay. If you have pain, you should be smart enough to know the difference between pain and soreness at this point in your career. If you have pain, there's something wrong with your mechanics. So now we go back to the first question of how are your mechanics? If there's pain, your mechanics are wrong. There's either your mechanics are wrong or there's something structurally wrong with your arm, your shoulder girdle, your elbow. Something is physically, structurally wrong that needs to be fixed. In either case, we're not throwing weighted baseballs. Okay, so who should throw weighted baseballs? Pro guys, college guys, and late high school guys who have fundamentally sound mechanics, who don't have arm pain, and who don't experience arm soreness after typical training sessions such as bullpens and long tosses. All right, if there's soreness after a good quality start where you go deep into the game, you've got a little soreness the next day, that's fine. Okay, that's not something that throws up a red flag. That's just something that we're typically used to seeing. So those are the guys that should be using weighted baseballs. Little leaguers, guys early in high school, guys who have flaws in their mechanics, guys who have arm pain, or guys who have unusual soreness should not, under any circumstances, touch a weighted baseball. It's really that simple. So now, why should you use a weighted baseball? We go out, we throw all the time. So why all of a sudden should we start thinking about weighted baseballs? Well, people ask me all the time for sport-specific strength training for baseball. And I really hate the term sport-specific strength training, because strength training is strength training. Sports are sports. Okay, when we're playing baseball, we're being sport-specific. When we're strength training, we're strength training. Throwing a weighted baseball is really one of the few ways to actually implement sport-specific strength training. We're doing an actual sport action, throwing the ball, against a heavier resistance, which is strength training. Okay, so weighted baseballs are sport-specific strength training. It's going to increase your arm strength. As things get stronger, more powerful, more explosive, they get faster. So we're also going to increase your arm speed with weighted baseballs. Now, when should we use weighted baseballs? Weighted baseballs are not a 12-month out of the year thing. Okay? In fact, throwing shouldn't be a 12-month out of the year thing. You need to take time off from throwing. Fall ball, in my opinion, is a terrible thing for pitchers, because you've played your competitive spring season, your competitive summer season, and now all of a sudden we're throwing a competitive fall season on top of that, really cutting into your rest and recovery time, because when fall season ends, it's time to start your ramp-up program for the next spring season, which creates this 12-month throwing cycle, which never gives your body time to rest and recover and really get better. So I like to tell my pitchers to take fall off. I know it's not always an option, but in an ideal world, we take the fall season off from throwing so that we can start our ramp-up throwing program sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We start our ramp up throwing program. We get into a little bit of long toss, and we've got our arm healthy. We've got our arm prepared. Our arm is ready to really start going for the season. So we use weighted baseballs after we've completed our ramp up throwing program. At the end of the ramp up throwing program, we also start some bullpen sessions. We want to make sure that we've got a few bullpen sessions under our belt before we start using weighted baseballs, because we want to make sure that we've fine-tuned our mechanics. We're back to where we should be for throwing. We're not throwing the weighted baseballs in and then wondering why our bullpen sessions aren't working the way they should. We get our bullpen sessions in. We know that everything's working right. We feel good. We're throwing well. We're hitting our spots. We're getting the movement on the pitches. Okay, everything's in line. Now let's introduce weighted baseballs. Okay, and now we never use our weighted baseballs for more than 4 weeks. Anything over 4 weeks, we're really going to look at a little bit of breakdown. So we start our bullpen sessions. A week or so later, we implement the weighted baseball training, and we make sure that that finishes up before opening day. All right, we'll finish with our last weighted baseball session, might be a week or so before our first start. So how do we use our weighted baseballs? Well, first of all, what weight do we use? Do we go out and pick a bowling ball and start throwing that around? No. Weighted baseballs are not extremely heavy. We're looking at 7 to 9 ounces tops. I know some great coaches out there who use considerably heavier baseballs, and they get great results with them. I don't endorse that method. I think it's something that they've figured out the secret to, and good for them. As far as the general public goes, we're looking at 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 ounces tops on a weighted baseball. So it's not overly heavy. We don't want something that's going to throw your mechanics off. We want a baseball that you can still throw with proper mechanics and not have to sacrifice your form to get this accomplished. Otherwise, it's counterproductive. So do we throw off the mound or flat ground? Weighted baseballs are always done on flat ground. When you throw off a mound, you're already increasing the stress on your arm. So we don't want to increase the stress by throwing off the mound and increase the stress even more by throwing a weighted baseball. That's too much stress on the arm. We also don't use the weighted baseballs for our long toss program. Okay, weighted baseballs are a short distance throw. We always do our weighted baseballs either after long toss, after bullpens, or as a standalone drill on its own day. We don't want to do the weighted baseballs. We don't want to increase the stress on your arm before throwing a bullpen or before long tossing, because that's going to take away from your long toss session. It's going to take away from your bullpen session. Okay, so it's always either after long toss, after bullpen, or a standalone on its own day. Do we play catch with weighted baseballs? No. You never catch a weighted baseball. You're just asking for an injury. You don't want to break a finger on your glove hand just because you're trying to catch a ball that isn't what you're used to catching. So we set up either L screens or sock nets. We'll have our guys stand half the distance. We'll stand 30 feet, and we're going to throw into the sock net. Partner's going to pick it up from the sock net and throw it back into the sock net right next to you. So we're throwing at a net. We're throwing at a net. We're throwing into a backstop. We're throwing into a tarp. We're throwing against the wall. We're throwing somewhere where it's not going to be caught. If you don't have a partner, you've either got to get a bunch of weighted baseballs, or you're going to get your cardio in by throwing the ball, jogging over and picking it up, jogging back and throwing it again. All right, it's never play catch with a weighted baseball. Sets and reps. This is where we put it all into play. We don't want to do a tremendously long throwing program with weighted baseballs. We don't want to get out and throw 100 pitches with a weighted baseball. Your arm will fall off. Well, not literally, but it'll feel like it's about to fall off. So what we look to do is short sets of a few reps, and we're going to vary the weight during our sets so that we've got a little bit of a different feel on the different throws. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a regular 5-ounce ball. We're going to throw 3 to 5 pitches with the regular 5-ounce ball. Then we're going to step it up, and we're going to go a little bit heavier. We're going to go with a 6 or 7-ounce ball, and this is another one. We're still throwing pitches. All right, we're still throwing, and my guys know that the terminology is throw or toss. When we're throwing, we're really looking at kind of the back side of the motion, where the ball's behind your body, you've got some layback on the shoulder, and you're really looking to put some velocity behind it. That's a throw. A toss is where we're focused more on what's going on out in front. So we're gonna throw 3 to 5 with the regular ball, 5-ounce ball. Then we're gonna do another 3 with a 6 or 7-ounce ball. A little bit heavier, but we can still get that layback. We can still work the backside. And then we're going to step it up. We're going to go another 3 throws with an 8 or a 9-ounce ball. And these we're not throwing, we're tossing. We're working on the front action, what's going on out in front of your body on the release with the 8 or 9-ounce ball. And then we're going to go back to the 5-ounce ball for another 3 to 5 throws. So we're looking at maybe 15 throws in a set. And these sets are going to take a few minutes because we're not rushing through. Okay, we're working on our mechanics while we're using a heavier ball, a heavier implement. So it's going to take a few minutes to get through, and you want to think of that almost as an inning. Between innings, we're going to put the glove down, we're going to put the balls down, and we're going to go through our routine in between innings. We're going to go sit down. We're going to talk with our coach. We're going to talk about what we see, how we feel, what's going on with the arm mechanics, all that fun stuff that you normally do between innings anyway. Then we're going to go back out, and we're going to throw another inning, another set. Always starting with the regular 5-ounce ball, moving up to a 6 or 7-ounce ball, working on the backside mechanics, stepping it up a little bit more to an 8 or a 9-ounce ball, working on the front side mechanics, and finishing with the regular 5-ounce ball. And we're only going to throw maybe 2-3 innings that way. So 30, 40, maybe 45 throws total with the weighted balls mixed in the middle there. Most of those throws, the majority of them, are still with the 5-ounce ball because we always want to go back to what we're going to be playing with. We always want to go back to the ball that we've known since we were 4 years old. The ball that Dave Dravecky says you pick it up, it's got the right weight, it's the right size, it's meant to be thrown. We always want to finish with that ball. We always want to start with that ball. We always want to finish with that ball. We always want to have the majority of our throws with the 5-ounce ball. So that's how we use the weighted balls with our guys. So there you have it. Weighted baseballs, the good, the bad, the ugly. When used properly, when used properly with the right ball players, weighted baseballs can be a tremendous asset to a pitcher's career. When used improperly with the wrong ball players, you can quickly end the career. So be smart. Like my mom always told me when I was growing up, don't be dumb. All right? Be smart with your pitchers. If you're a pitcher, be smart about how you choose to implement weighted baseballs. It's a very simple thing to do, as long as you do it right. If you do it wrong, you're really going to shorten things up. You're going to tighten up your arm. You really have the possibility of ending your career when you use weighted baseballs improperly. So be smart about them. Use them properly. Use them smart. Use them at the right time of year, and use them the right way. And one more thing for you. You can grab our complete power pitching preparation program at www.baseballtrainingblueprint.com. This is a 45-minute video showing you exactly how we get our guys ready to throw as soon as they touch the ball. Okay, this is going to show you exactly what we do leading up to our long toss sessions, our bullpen sessions, and our game starts. How we get our guys fired up, ready to go, warmed up, explosive, so that when we touch the ball, we're fired up, we're ready to go. We don't have to take an extra 20 minutes of easy tossing to lead into our throwing program. We grab that ball, we're ready to start throwing gas. It also comes with a downloadable printable take it to the field with you guide. You can print it out, throw it in your bag, and you'll have it right there to follow with you every time you go out to throw. Okay, complete power pitching program, absolutely free. Download it today at www.baseballtrainingblueprint.com.